2013, I started working at Woodland Veterinary Hospital, eager to find a pathway into a career with animals, whether it was pet care, animal health, or client relations. Unbeknownst to all things work-related, I didn't take a pet home, but instead I met Stephanie Lowe. She was the kindest person, generous, funny, always sharing her snacks, especially with me. Before I knew it, we became inseparable. I was just a new guy feeding people's pets. She was the one doing the surgeries, saving lives. Brilliant, skilled, composed, and she never made me feel small. While all the other doctors sat together in their clique, she preferred to have lunch with me. It felt very special coming from her. At the time, I had nothing. No money, no car, no career. She had already built an impressive one. She was humble, quiet, caring. One early memory at a staff meeting, she gave leftover food to the homeless man outside of the hospital. She was making conversation with him as if they were friends already. That was the moment that I knew exactly who Stephanie was as a person.
Do it!
While the staff took care of the animals, she made sure we were taken care of too, feeding us chocolates to get our blood pressure up in emergency situations, making sure we all stayed hydrated. A few years later, I got a job at the Jackson Laboratory, which unknowingly became the start of my new passion and career in genetics. Stephanie and I still stayed in contact. I felt special because at that time I was still a nobody, and she made it a point to keep me as a friend. Eventually, she joined me at the Jackson Laboratory. We continued our tradition, lunch every day, dinner after work, exploring new places to eat. Korean barbecue and hot pot was our thing. We talked for hours every single day. Our loyalty for each other was undeniable. I wanted to understand her, why someone as successful as her was sometimes too quiet or too reserved. Although humble, there was something deeper. What most people didn't know is that beneath her calm, kind exterior, Stephanie was carrying a deep sadness.
The Sacred Hearts Catholic Church.
Sacred Cat.
Rehab.
On our first international trip together to the Caribbean, I found her medication. Antidepressants. I wasn't shocked, but I was heartbroken. It became rare to see her smile. Always asked me if I thought she was boring, asked if any guys noticed her. She always felt unworthy, even though she had everything I thought I wanted. But me, a nobody, when I first met her, she thought I was the cool one. It made no sense. It must have been rooted in the feeling of unworthiness. Eventually, she landed her dream job at UC Davis, teaching future veterinarians how to perform surgeries. Something very commendable. But something still felt off. We grew a little distant. I assumed she was just busy and we had become at odds over something so trivial that was too small to break our bond. A few months had passed and I couldn't stop thinking of her and our friendship. I finally gave in. We caught up over dinner. She had missed me so much. I remember sitting in her car, it was hot out, and realized she wore long sleeves. After a long emotional conversation, she rolled them up. I saw her arms, bruised and scarred veins. I cried on the spot. It wasn't just depression anymore. This was addiction, and this was going to kill her. No one knew. She still showed up for work. She still hung out with her doctor friends. She still looked polished and professional. But when she disappeared for days and didn't answer her phone, I knew what was happening. She'd be locked in her bathroom, destroying herself with something she finally loved back. She told me she realized she went too far when her cat ran out of food after a 3-day binge. She loved her cat too much to let him suffer. Charlie. Stephanie didn't really like to talk about her childhood. She grew up in Daly City with her mother and sister Jessica, Her father had left them when she was very little and was unheard of ever since. She never really told me what happened, but whenever he was mentioned, she looked sad, and so I never really asked. Her mother sustained both her and her sister Jessica. She had playdates with her neighbor Alex. Keep this kid in mind, as I will mention him a little later. As an adult, Stephanie grew distant from her mother. She always compared herself to her sister Jessica, which grew up to be a lawyer with a husband and the kids and the perfect life. She never wanted to talk about what actually happened to her. She expressed in her culture emotions are kept locked in. She didn't want shame. She wanted her mom to be proud of her. Although she felt disconnected from her sister and her mother, she really cared for them. Her mom was hard on her growing up, and I could feel the resentment, but she never explained why. Whether it was the strictness of her mother, the absence of her father, or the success of her sister, I will never know what grudges gravitated with her into her adulthood. Despite all of this, Stephanie herself became successful too, a powerhouse who was evidently loved by all. But her childhood kept her emotions locked into the past no matter what she achieved in life. Eventually, she lost her dream job due to attendance. Whether they suspected anything, I will never know. She was broken more so than before, and her addiction got even worse, with no job, wasting all her savings, and shortly after, she lost her house as well. She was rapidly changing right before my eyes. She was spending time with people who didn't know who she used to be. These thugs, jobless junkies, the homeless she used to feed are now part of her inner circle. And when our veterinary friends asked about her, I'd just say, she's busy. And when she did join us for hangouts on occasions, no one suspected a thing. She knew how to polish herself very well and was still as articulate as she was, composed and eloquent. But once the makeup washed off, she was ashamed of her open wounds to be seen. She felt guilt, embarrassed, and sad. By the end of 2022, I was working my dream job too, traveling as part of the corporate response team for Charles River Laboratories. I was working with big scientists and doing really cool stuff. I finally felt important. I wasn't that nobody that I met when I first met Stephanie, but that came crashing down too. I was sent home from a business trip in New York City. My world fell apart, and I haven't recovered since. Soon after, I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't find work. I was drowning. And for the first time in my life, I was scared because I was about to be homeless. But Stephanie, still battling with her own addiction, came to save me. She paid my rent. She paid my bills. She held me up while I was falling apart, and I will never forget that. That is a testament on the type of person that Stephanie was. In 2025, she returned to the veterinary hospital where we first met. Everyone welcomed her back with open arms. She was a legend and a staple there. She wanted to start over, but her sadness followed her. She went into rehab June of 2025, a third time. She was desperate at this point, and I can feel it. And I was so proud of her for taking that step. She wanted to be who she was, the same Stephanie that was put together, had everything she needed, and the one her veterinary friends remembered her as. Keep in mind, they had no idea what had been going on the past 7 years. While she stayed in rehab, she had 1 hour a day with her phone, in which she would spend talking to me and sending me pictures of her bed and food. She wanted to stay longer. She should have, and I begged her to. But unfortunately, it's all her insurance covered, and she didn't have the kind of money she had before to pay out of pocket. But I could feel it. This time was different. She was happy to get help. Nonetheless, she came out looking healthier, and I couldn't wait to spend time with her again. But the sadness remained. As weeks passed, she realized she just wasn't happy without the only thing that made her feel whole. No medications, no therapy had ever worked on her, just the very thing killing her. On Monday, July 21, she called. And I didn't answer. I was tired. I had planned to catch up the next day, and I couldn't wait to talk to her as I was going through a lot of things as well. But on Wednesday, her coworkers called me. She hadn't showed up. Stephanie's body was found lifeless. Scars, blood on the floor in her nightgown. I wasn't shocked. I was devastated. I was angry at her, at myself for not picking up that night, but strangely, I didn't cry. because I had already grieved when I saw her arms that night in her car. That's when I knew. Stephanie never got her happy ending. She wanted to be there for her family. She wanted to get married and have kids. We never got to take the trips we planned. I stare at my phone now every night, missing her text, her voice, her presence. We shared everything, our secrets, our struggles, and now I'm sharing her story. Because someone like her shouldn't be forgotten. She was a rare, beautiful soul. And even in the depths of her own pain, she gave me the strength to keep going. And I am here because of her. Her secret was out now to her mother and sister. We spoke for hours. It just didn't feel real. They were shocked, sad, angry, confused. Stephanie touched many lives. People from different stages of her life gathered for her celebration of life. They all remembered her for her caring heart, her jokes, her success. She made an impact on so many. There was one unfamiliar face. She had a speech ready. She stated when she moved into the neighborhood, Stephanie had welcomed her with flowers and food and exchanged numbers. And they talked for 2 hours, and that stuck with her because of how welcoming Stephanie was, and regretted not getting to know her more after. An old childhood friend I'd never met reached out to me. They hadn't talked since childhood, but Stephanie never left her mind. She remembered Stephanie being so nice as a child. They became close really quick. But she mentioned even then Stephanie had a deep sadness. Stephanie had tried to end her life at 12. This friend stuck by her side, but after young Stephanie found out she was moving away, she got mad at her for whatever reason, and they fell out of touch. But her friend never stopped thinking of her. Now, let's get back to her childhood neighbor. His mother had passed away 2 years prior in 2023, and he had gotten in touch with Stephanie again after that happened. She introduced us, and I actually recognized him. This was Nico Reeves, which was a model that I was very familiar with in high school. Small world. He was a little bit older than Stephanie, and he remembered her father. He was a charming man with nice cars, owner of a few restaurants in San Francisco. Stephanie's mom and him had built a life together. She loved him. Her neighbor, which was his mom, caught him with another woman. Their communal neighborhood in Chinatown all knew about the multiple affairs but kept quiet. Embarrassed and hurt, Stephanie's mother got information by her friend and neighbor on the hotel he stayed at one day. She angrily showed up while he was there with his mistress. She banged on the door with tears and in despair. Shortly after, he packed his belongings and left her and his 2 daughters behind. No contact ever again. Stephanie's ex-boyfriend that she was with for 15 years stated that Stephanie had a lot of abandonment issues. She was always insecure, she was always sad. He loved her, he did everything he could for her, but she just wasn't happy with anything. She was always in deep sadness, and he just didn't know what to do. Depression can be ugly, no matter how successful, beautiful, or loved you are. In the end, Stephanie left her mother, sister, family, and friends behind. She is finally at peace away from a world she didn't feel she was a part of. After her funeral, her mom, sister, and myself, along with her ex of 15 years, decided to celebrate her by doing an activity she loved, eating hot pot and candy.
Do it.